Yeah, I'm at RicoKnows. That's my big bro. All he knows is making money in sports, betting on the low. But if you really know him, then you know he loves college football and that transfer portal.
Money.com.
I had to show him my film from high school. He said, kid, you got talent. You could get a division I offer if you don't get it. The process is backwards. Yeah, I just wanna put on for the home team. We just lost to the rival, and I can't let it go. I can tell that you don't know what I mean. I can tell that you don't know. That's cause you don't know RicoKnows. Rico, that's my big bro. All he knows is making money in sports, betting on the low. But if you really know him, then you know he loves college football and that transfer portal. Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete. Rico smarter than you think. Yeah, Rico got a mind of his own. You don't know RicoKnows. That's my big bro. He told me to take the process seriously, so I went back to the film and found something they don't see. Yeah, we get better every day. I'm gonna make my brother proud. And if you ask me how, Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete. Rico smarter than you think. Yeah, Rico got a mind of his own. You don't know RicoKnows. That's my big bro. Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete.
Yo, we got all the fire songs. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I want to say tonight's a little unique because usually I do conference previews and all this stuff, and tonight I'm doing a little something different, right? I'm just going to do a Q&A with you guys and talk about all the Week 4 matchups. Now, I'm going to go over every single matchup. Probably not, but you guys will have an opportunity to engage me in questions about college football, and I'll answer what I can. If it's not an MVP level question, meaning if it's not premium content, if you aren't aware, yes, I pick all the games against the spread. I can tell you who's going to win every single game. All you have to do, download Patreon. It's an app. It's just like OnlyFans, except I keep my clothes on. And search RicoKnows. You go to Patreon, you search RicoKnows, look for the blue logo like this. 6,000 people have figured it out. We have another 1,000 people on YouTube. And I'm not talking about subscribers. I'm not talking about these 21,000 subscribers. That's irrelevant, right? You go to YouTube, you can hit a join button, become an MVP that way as well. We don't prefer YouTube only because you can't have screenshots. I can show you guys like MVP locks here. I can't see the MVP data because I'm not an MVP, but you can only I can only post videos. They don't let me post actual pictures. If you go down here for the MVPs, they get screenshots of the charts and they get a lot more of the information. Now you can get to the Discord server, connect your apps, connect whether it be YouTube or Patreon, and you can see everything. But enough of that. Shout out to the MVPs who figured it out. Thousands upon thousands of people figured out. Please, if you want to know who's going to win these games against the spread, this is what I do. All right, so shout out to me. I appreciate you guys. But let's talk about sports real quick. I'm going to go to On3, and I'm just going to go down the Twitter page while I let the comments stack up. Remember, if you have any comments, come over to YouTube, drop them in, and I will read every single one of them. Do not spam your comments. Do not spam your questions. I will get to them. We're just letting them build up. Shout out to everybody watching on TikTok. I don't reply to TikTok comments. I don't even respond to you guys. I don't even read the chat because it goes away. So you have to go to YouTube, drop it in the chat, and then I'll answer it from there. So there you go. All right. So, yeah, we're looking at this. As you guys have heard, some teams lost their head coaches this week. It's pretty early in the season to lose your job. That means the teams were never really into you. They never really believed in you. If you ask me, if a coach can be fired on week 3, that means they had no confidence in you whatsoever. Because there's some 0-3 coaches not fired right now. They still got the support of the staff, the players, and everything else. But the coaches that got fired, Deshaun Foster and Brent Pry. Now, with Deshaun Foster's case, him being fired, it's pretty simple. I struggle with supporting Deshaun Foster's hiring. Initially, I thought it was a pretty cool hiring. I'm from Southern California, first and foremost. Born and raised, played in the Southern section. Shout out to me, CIF Southern section. So I remember Tustin versus Santa Margarita. I remember Deshaun Foster versus Carson Palmer. I vividly remember Carson Palmer had a white wide receiver who ended up going to Colorado. His name escapes me, but he was a baller. Okay, I remember this game and it being a shootout, 40-something to 40-something. Just an all-time great game in the CIF championship. And back then, we didn't have state championships. You won a CIF title, and that was it. And I can just remember these games because this was my time. I was in high school at that time. We were CIF's Southern Section semifinalists back-to-back years and then champions the next 2 years. What I want to tell you about this is I look at Deshaun Foster. He's an amazing player. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're an amazing coach. He can be a great running backs coach. You're not an amazing coach. Because you have to be able to coach your positions coaches. You have to be able to coach your offense and defensive coordinators. It's what's happening with Coach Prime right now. Coach Prime cannot coach his coordinators. He's never been a coordinator. He can't speak from experience. He doesn't know what they're doing wrong. All he can do is hire or fire them. That's it. That's what he did with Sean Lewis before. And then you got Livingston here, a defensive coordinator now. And all you can do, if there's anything going wrong, you're either going to hire or fire the guy. There is no corrections to be made because you're out of your depth. You're out of your element. You can't speak on it. You want another proof of concept? It's when you hire these head coaches that have no coordinator experience. The other proof of concept is Kenny Burns. Kenny Burns, former running backs coach. He was at Minnesota, running backs coach, great one. Shout out to PJ Fleck. And Kent State said, we're going to hire this guy because he knows how to recruit in this area. Oh, by the way, we need more minority head coaches. This is not the path to victory here. You need to go out and find qualified coaches. Don't be concerned whether or not they're a minority. Don't be concerned whether or not they can recruit in that area. Find somebody who's done the job. And these teams are now going to have to find coaches that have done the job. Now, do you want to go and get a big name? Everybody's always, John Gruden. John Gruden wants to get back into coaching. John Gruden. No. The way you succeed in hiring a new head coach is you find one with Louis luggage. You find one with Samsonite luggage. You find one with players that are going to travel with them and help them bounce back immediately and help implement their plan. You know, when you're a good coach, it's all about getting the players to be an extension of yourself on the field. Like you are, sure, you're inspiring men, you're maturing them, growing them, you talk to their parents, you're going to do all these different, that's cool. The reality of winning comes down to, can I get that young man on the field to duplicate what I'm doing, what I'm teaching? It's a fact. It's the way it works. I was in the military over 21 years. I know how to lead college-age men. And the one thing we have to do as leaders, the only way your company is going to be any better or your platoon or your section is going to be any better is if your subordinates can emulate the guidance given from the tower, the guidance given from above. And that's why I'll look at a platoon chart and be like, man, why is your whole platoon 8 up? Well, you know, and you're amazing. You're amazing. Let me tell you guys something. I remember a young man, he became a sergeant, and he was a 300 PT guy, meaning he was the most physically fit guy among his peers. He was the fitness guru. And I'm a 300 PT guy my whole career. And this little E5 became a fucking monster at PT. That's what he was. And so we made him a sergeant. And now he's a squad leader. And now he has 4 people he has to influence. Maybe it was 6 people. He had 6 guys he had to influence. He had to motivate and inspire. 6 guys. 2 of them were failures of the PT test. None of them were 300s. And he said to me, well, I scored 300. I don't know what their problem is. And I said, their problem is they don't have a leader who can lead them. You haven't inspired them to do anything. Your 300 doesn't matter anymore. You need to get them to do what you were doing as a private or a specialist. I don't care what your PT score is. I care what your soldier's PT score is. You're going to be judged by the performance of your subordinates. So when you look at somebody like Deshaun Foster or even Deion Sanders, I don't care how good of a football player you were. That doesn't matter to me. How good are your subordinates? Are you inspiring them, motivating them, teaching them, coaching them, mentoring them to be better players on the field? And if you're not, get the fuck out. I don't care how fast you ran a 40. I don't care how many rushing yards you had in high school. None of that matters. Can you get the players to execute and do what we need you to do? And in some of these coaches' positions, they're out of their element. They're out of their depth, because not only do you have to inspire the players to play well, when you're the head coach, now you have to inspire the other coaches. When can you sit down and have a coaches meeting? Oh, I love this. You have a coaches meeting and you can't even correct them because you've never done that job before. I'm not saying you have to crawl, walk, run in every walk of life, but there's something to be said about the guy who started on the fries and then moved to the burgers, and then moved to the cashier, then moved to the shift leader, the manager, the general manager, the district manager. And now you walk into a place and you know what it takes to stock that freezer, and you know how long it takes to make those fries, and you know the day-to-day operations of how to run that business. And you're the general manager now. You can't just show up. You can't be a general manager at Marshall's and then you go and apply to be a general manager at McDonald's. It's not going to work. Oh, I know how to be a manager. I used to manage over here. You don't have a fucking clue what they're doing out there. And if you were the best player in the world, that doesn't mean you're a great coach. You got to bring players with you. That bridges the gap. Shout out to G.J. Kinney, bringing players with him from UIW. And it doesn't matter what level they come from. No, Bob Chesney did it at JMU. Just bring over some guys. Kirk Signetti did it at Indiana. Just bring over JMU guys. They'll win at Indiana. How is that possible? They're a group of 5 team. How are they winning in the Big Ten? How are they in the playoffs? Because you're a great coach. And when those players get there, they help implement your standard. You get what I'm saying? Like, you bring 8 guys with you. Those 8 guys already know what your standard is. And now that can matriculate to the locker room and to the weight room. And they can start telling everybody what your standard is. I'll never forget this. I was a first sergeant, and all the NCOs in the unit, they already knew who I was. And they were telling all the young soldiers, hey, listen to me. We got a new first sergeant. We can't talk out of turn. We got to put our hands behind our back. We got to be respectful. We cannot leave work early. We got to do this. They be on your P's and Q's. Have your room clean at all times, because he'll do surprise room inspection. Like, I had all this shit going. But the point is the whole unit was on high alert. Yo, we got a new first sergeant. So when you get a new head coach, you need players in that locker room telling all the other players, hey, we got a new head coach. Here's his standard. Here's what he wants to see. You cannot do that. You got to be able to do this. Oh, when we get to practice, we got to be able to do 10 100-meter sprints at the end of practice. You got to be able to do this many burpees. You got to do this. It's not putting fear into the players, but it's letting them understand what the standard is. And if you don't have any players on the roster to do that, you'll be North Carolina. You'll be North Carolina. You'll show up trying to convince the players that they need to follow your standard, and nobody knows what your standard is. And you're not motivating them because they're already getting paid. And a lot of these players, you got to find out which players are intrinsically motivated. And what I mean by that is they're internally motivated. We use this term all the time, self-motivated. You need to find the players that are self-motivated, because any player out here who's only playing for the money, oh man, I got to get paid. I want my NAL check. I want this. Oh, I'm doing it for that Rari. I'm doing it for that chain. Whatever they're doing it for. The guys who are doing it for themselves are going to be way more successful. Way more successful. If you're doing it for money, you think you would work hard for money. Like if I told you, hey man, if you dig this hole, dig a hole. You know how hard it is to dig a hole? It's fucking impossible. Dig a hole. If I told you dig a hole 3 feet deep and I'll give you $3,000, you would start digging because you want $3,000. And if I told you it doesn't matter how many holes you dig, if you dig holes 3 feet deep, I'll keep giving you $3,000. At some point, you're going to look at that shovel, that pickaxe, that hole in the ground. You're going to look at the ground and you're going to go, I don't need to dig anymore. I got enough money for today. I got enough money. I don't need. At first, it was a hell of a deal. At first, it motivated you and made you think like crazy. And then after a while, you're like, I really don't need this. I'm good. I got enough. I'm out. That's because you're not motivated by somebody who owns the land Or in comparison, someone who owns land and who says, man, I got to dig 20 holes before I can move on to my next project. That guy's going to dig all 20 holes. No money needed. He's motivated by himself. I need people to understand that. So when you look at the coaching options here for Virginia Tech, it's Alex Golesh, so they say, that's on the list. Pat Fitzgerald, Dave Clawson. The one that intrigues me the most on that list is Pat Fitzgerald, not Alex Golesh. Pat Fitzgerald intrigues me the most because I've seen him succeed at a Power 4 level with minimal resources. I want you guys to understand what I'm saying. Pat Fitzgerald was succeeding in a state where they don't really recruit all that well. There's not a lot of football in Chicago. Don't believe that hype. He was recruiting to go to a high academic institution in Northwestern, and he was still very good at Northwestern for 20 years. That one intrigues me the most. Alex Golesh, what are you going to do? You're going to convince Florida kids to go up to Virginia Tech? Have you guys been to Blacksburg? You driven up? I think it's like on the 70 or something like that. I've driven up there. There ain't shit up there. Nobody wants to be there. Virginia's a better job. Rutgers, better place. There's about 10 places in the ACC better than Virginia Tech. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough spot to be in. I'm going to jump to the chat, and then I'm going to move down and scroll down. I just want to make sure you guys are part of the show. Thank you guys for being here. I will always answer your questions, always respond to your comments, and then move on to the next topic. Remember, if you're watching on TikTok, move over to YouTube, drop a comment. I will read it, and I will react. Shout out to Mike, Big Red Mike. Right? Mike says, go Big Red. If you don't know, Mike is a Nebraska homer. He's been on with the program. He's been with us. Mike, I think you've been a fan of the channel for 3 years, so I appreciate you. You're day one, A1. Appreciate you very much. Oh, talk about a day one, A1. Joseph Villalon. Joseph Villalon is a troll. This is a guy who's been around for 3 years as well. He claims to be Matthew McConaughey. He claims to fly to every game in private jets, and he's on the field for every Texas game. And you can see it here. He says Texas is winning the Natty. Unless that's a 12-pack of natural ice, I don't know what you're talking about. Texas looks gross this year. Texas has an elite defense. But that Arch Manning guy is a liability. Call your insurance company, pay your deductible. That dude sucks. And so does Wingo. If we're staying on task and on topic, Texas underwhelmed by the quarterback play. And anybody talking about Arch Manning's draft prospects, that's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely disgusting. Not good at all. He couldn't start at Syracuse. He starts at Texas because of the amount of money he makes. Welcome to the NFL. He's not any good. Seen someone say Vic for the Virginia Tech job, Nick. Yeah, no. Vic is not prepared for that. It's not realistic. You're at Norfolk State. They don't look good. They just lost by 60 to something. You're not going to bring any players over. There's nobody from Norfolk that's going to come with you. You're not bringing any luggage. You know what kind of luggage you're bringing? You're bringing them Walmart plastic bags, those one-use plastic bags. And you might double bag it. Shout out to some of you guys on a Saturday night, but there's just no way. That's not a realistic option going to Virginia Tech. We just saw Deshaun Foster go to his alumni, completely ill-prepared for the job. No, Michael Vick's not a Power 4 head coach. It's one of the most coveted positions in the world. It's not a chance. It's not good. It's going to fall apart and horrifically. Do you agree? Shout out to Nick. He says, do you agree with Auburn and Oklahoma just being a learning game? So just real quick, if you're an MVP and you're in here talking about MVP level data or picks, you will be blocked. You cannot do that while you're in here. We will not have those discussions. This is a public forum. We're talking about public things. People pay me for that type of information. And if you're in here talking like that, you'll just be blocked, Nick. So don't do it. I agree that is a very competitive game, and I hope you learn a lot about both teams when they're playing each other. Myron Kidd says, Vic ain't ready for the Virginia Tech job yet. Not yet. He's never going to be ready for that job. Understand, Power 4 head coaching jobs typically come from other Power 4 head coaches or past and previous Power 4 head coaches or coordinators in the Power 4. They don't come from Group of 5 head coaches. They definitely don't come from FCS, low-level FCS head coaches. That's not how it works. The head coaches in the Power 4 are hires from offense and defensive coordinators of other Power 4 programs or other Power 4 head coaches. There is no path from Group of 5 to head coach of the Power 4. That's not a consistent path. That is not a realistic one. There are one-offs. You'll hear about it. You hear about one guy who was at Cincinnati for 7 years and went undefeated, and then he gets hired to Wisconsin. Yes, that's real. But by and large, it's not the way to go. No, it's not the path. And that's why so many head coaches will leave their position to go be coordinators at other schools, at Power 4 schools. Whoever takes on UCLA head coaching spot, they have a bunch of battles to deal with. Better not be a first-time head coach, IMO. Yeah, so it's most definitely not going to be a first-time head coach. I think Nick Rolovich is a prime candidate. If I was hiring, I would hire Nick Rolovich. Although he doesn't have a bunch of players ready to come with him, he was successful at Washington State and at Hawaii. Unfortunately for him, he got fired because of the COVID snafu. He refused to get a COVID vaccine, but that's a really good coach as well. And he comes from a great coaching tree, somebody that I would put on staff immediately. But UCLA is not an ideal coaching spot. It's not somewhere you want to be. There are resources involved, but, it's just bad. Put money in the wrong place, and you're in a tough spot. Zach Downey says, I have a question. I always question when a coach moves up and no one follows him players-wise. Just something that always makes me say, that's weird. Well, it's not necessarily weird. Zach Downey, sometimes when coaches do move up, in the rare cases that it does happen, sometimes they know their current roster isn't better than the one that they have, right? When you saw, I'll give you an example. When you saw Barry Odom just recently, he just got hired from UNLV and he went to Purdue. And everybody saw Purdue as one of the worst teams in America, or one of the worst teams in the Power 4. Ryan Walters just shit the bed for the last 2 years. So he goes from UNLV, and he doesn't bring a bunch of UNLV transfers with him. He brings about 3 or 4. Why didn't he bring a bunch of UNLV transfers? Because the UNLV players aren't better than the ones they had on that roster. What he did bring was Arkansas players from when he was a defensive coordinator at Arkansas. He brought those guys for depth. He started going out and getting better players. They went in, they had a higher target that they were looking for, but you didn't necessarily have the players follow him, right? Same thing happened with Scott Satterfield when he got hired at Cincinnati, although most people don't like him, but he didn't bring many players with him from Louisville to Cincinnati. The Braum brothers didn't bring many from Cal over to Louisville. Didn't happen. There are times coaches move and they move into a new job where the coaches don't, or the players don't measure up. Next question here. Apologize. Nick says, UCLA needs to stay the hell away from Tony White, at least until after next season. They're going to pursue what they want to pursue. You guys are all paranoid. You guys are ridiculous. UCLA is going to find whoever gets hired by UCLA, understand that coach that gets hired, it's his dream come true. It's the greatest thing that could have ever happened to him and his family. You guys are vilifying UCLA, but whoever they hire, that coach is going to be ecstatic that he has an opportunity to be a head coach in the Power 4, which is one of the most coveted jobs on the planet Earth. That's absurd that you guys even write like this. Shocks me that Will Stein isn't being thrown out as much as I would think. No, it doesn't shock me. Some guys have high price tags. Brandon Penrod says Rice or Charlotte. So asking me about teams and who's going to win the game, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to give out picks and tell you guys who's going to win the game. I'll break down the teams for you pretty quickly here. So Rice is on the road at Charlotte. I'm very high on Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I like what Tim Albin's doing. I like the fact that he's at a new place with all his coaches and all his players. Unfortunately for him, the team's been hit by injuries a ton. So 2 of their top receivers are injured and out for this game. I think McGowan's out for the whole year, and then Olsen's not going to be playing. I don't know. I think he's questionable. You have Connor Harrell, and then you have Henry Rutledge. Rutledge, the running back who's really good, and he's been injured as well, hasn't played at all this year. So when you don't have a dynamic running back, you've got a really slow one from what I can see, and your receivers are missing. I just want to know how they're going to consistently score and move the ball. Shout out to Connor Harrell. They figured it out last week, but it was an FCS team, and I wasn't really moved by that performance. Like, I wasn't like everybody else losing their minds. Like, oh my God, 200 yards receiving, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't move me like that. So they're playing against Rice. Rice has a good defense, good players on defense. They've had a good pedigree for defensive backs for a while now. And Rice does not throw the ball at all. So Rice is just going to run the rock till they're blue in the face. I believed in Charlotte week 1 when they were playing against App State. I was pathetically wrong, not even close to right. And that's unfortunate because that loss didn't age well. App State just lost this week to Southern Miss. So it's looking more and more like Charlotte's really far away from the top of the American. And Rice can beat you on any given day. Rice is just a really tough. They're a service academy. They're going to go out there undersized, underprivileged, whatever it is, and they're going to run and they're going to play smart. Not a lot of penalties. They're going to do everything right. And then when you get a team like Charlotte, there might be a lot of penalties because they're a bunch of free agents, because they're still trying to figure out the standard. They just got there and all this stuff. They're not really ready to die for one another. So it's a difficult game. It's a difficult game to predict. I don't think that anyone should be trying to make a living predicting that game. It is a coin flip game, and you should learn about these two teams that are kind of substandard at this point. Shout out to Charlotte. I like them a lot. I like Rico's expertise. Thank you so much. Texas going 15-1. Yikes. Shout out to Joseph Villalon. Just talks crazy. Losing to ODU could have been a necessary evil for Virginia Tech. So I talked about this on live stream. I was waiting at a food truck before the game. Somebody asked me in the chat, hey, Rico, what do you think about ODU versus Virginia Tech? And I said, he goes, why aren't we a bigger favorite? And he was a Virginia Tech fan. And I said, because you don't have players that you think you do. Like, your quarterback is really, Kyron Drones is a backup from Baylor who couldn't start at Baylor. That's who he is. So you went out and got a quarterback who couldn't start at Baylor, and maybe they were starting the wrong guy. They were starting Blake Shapen, but they didn't play him. So you got a backup quarterback from Baylor. Your star running back, Stewart, who's not healthy, is from the MAC. And you lost Ollie Jennings, and you lost Lane, you lost Felton. It's like, who'd you backfill with? When you're shopping in the bargain section, like when you're shopping in the group of five for players trying to compete at the highest level, it's not going to, how are they any better? Like, I don't understand. When I look at ODU, the linebackers are All-Americans. They got two All-Americans at linebacker. Mario and Henderson are both All-Americans. ODU has Johnny Manziel at quarterback. Colton Joseph is Johnny Manziel. I don't think people understand how equivalent teams are. Look, last year I was calling Virginia Tech Saxburg. I was saying, not Blacksburg, Saxburg. I was saying, look at Virginia Tech's defensive line. They brought in a transfer from Duke who's amazing, just a small little tree trunk of a guy that I really love. They got another edge rusher from Florida, and he can get everything, right? Shout out to the hyphenated Powell. I know all the players' names. I don't even bother saying them. Listen to me. This year, they lose all that talent. And what do they backfill with? They go to the transfer portal and they go bargain shopping. They don't have a lot of NIL money. They got to go bargain shopping. So who do they get? Ben Bell. Who's Ben Bell? It's a La Tech defensive end who went to Texas State, who's 6'1", 230 pounds. And he's strong. He's got curly blonde hair, pound for pound, really strong. But that is a 6'1", 230-pound defensive end. That's not the same as Antoine. Like, that's not real. So you guys got to understand that you don't have the team you think you have. You have the reality of your team is you're an accumulation of group of five guys and no real homegrown talent. This is why I knew South Carolina was going to win against Virginia Tech week 1. And some of you might go like, oh, anybody could have called that. Yeah. No. Understand, the spread was like 2 points. Understand that people are convinced Kyron Drones is going to run all over everybody. You just lost Baishal Tutton, who, by the way, was an FCS running back. So your best players are not guys you're recruiting and developing. You're just looking for answers in the transfer portal. You're recruiting off other people's teams. One of your best DBs was Canteen. How bad was the linebacker play last year? Think about that. They brought in Sam Brumfeld from Middle Tennessee State, starting middle linebacker from Middle Tennessee State. And he lost his job. And now he's at Memphis. He lost his job. You are misevaluating talent, and that's how you get fired. You're starting the wrong players, and you're misevaluating talent. You will be fired because the results will reflect. And I'm just a guy on TikTok. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I'm just a guy on Patreon. And I'm calling out every coaching staff in America going, oh, wait, you misevaluated the talent. Hey, your best running back's third string. I've been saying that for months, years, about all kinds of different players. Oh, they're starting the wrong guy here. All the time. And then the coach gets fired. Coach gets fired. But you all think the coach knows better than me. But they're unemployed today. I'm doing great. It is what it is. ODU is not that big of a loss to me. ODU was an equivalent team. The fact that they showed up to play might be coaching. Brent Pry gets fired. I want to see Trinidad Chambliss play more. Go watch tape. I watched tape on him this offseason. You guys remember I made 2 videos about Trinidad Chambliss. When he hit the transfer portal, I didn't know who he was. He was a Ferris State quarterback. I don't watch Division II football, even in the GLIAC. I don't watch Division II football. So I said, okay, who's this kid with 0 stars in the transfer portal? And I went and did a search, and I watched all his huddle tape. I watched everything I could find on him. And when I was done, I posted on Twitter. And I went in here like this. I'll go like this. I went in here like this, and I went, boom, boom, boom. Let's go to Twitter. And this is before the recruiting website said where he was going. This is because they all Trinidad Chambliss. Let's talk. Let's get this kid's name. I want to show you guys something because Trinidad Chambliss. Let me go over here and do this instead. I'm still learning how to search for stuff that I wrote. I think I figured it out. There you go. Trinidad Chambliss. This was in April. In April, I wrote, whoever lands quarterback Trinidad Chambliss is getting a beast. 0 stars is utter nonsense. This is back when he had 0 stars. I literally wrote this in April because I study every player in the transfer portal. But does he start for Ole Miss, though? Which quarterback should Tennessee get out of the portal? I already told all these guys this shit. Trinidad Chambliss, I talked about it. He should not be 0 stars. And I was right. He's amazing. He's a good player. The recruiting websites eventually gave him 3 stars after he signed with Ole Miss because they're lazy. And then they go, oh, well, he signed with Ole Miss. Oh, he's got to be 3 stars now. He's not 0 stars anymore. He's a good player. Go watch all his tape. Nick, apology accepted, Nick. Maddox Scott. Oh, you know what? I'm talking to you guys. You guys should be able to see the chat here. My bad. Maddox Scott says, will Duke move on from Diaz if this is a poor season? I hope not. He's only been there 1 season. What kind of patience do you guys have? What do you guys do, man? How does that work? Where you guys think you get a new coach and he's supposed to go win the national title or something? And then you're just going to fire him and move on? What are you going to reset to do what? What is Diaz doing wrong? He's doing nothing wrong. Who's he lost to? Teams that were better than him? Tulane's got more talent than him. Illinois got more talent than him. What has he done wrong? Silly ass question. Silly. Matthew Sanders says John Summerall is the next great coach. What are you talking about? He's been a great coach. Why is he the next great coach? He's already been a coach, and he's been a great one. That's why he got hired. He was great at Troy. He's great at Tulane. What do you mean he's the next great coach? You can't be a great coach in the group of 5? That's the silliest shit I ever read. Opinion on Dabo's crash out yesterday. Dalton Hallman, I don't know what the hell crash out means. I used to think I knew what crash out meant, but Dabo did not crash out yesterday. So what did I miss? Dabo said, you want to fire me, get rid of me, get rid of me. I won the conference 8 out of the last 10 years. How is that a crash out? Crashing out would have been if Dabo hit a reporter or something. Crashing out means you can't recover from it, right? You crash out so bad there's no coming back from it? That's a crash out. No. I got opinion on Dabo's crash out. People need to shut the hell up. That's one of the most successful head coaches in America. Colton Joseph is the man so far. He's been the man since last year. Not so far. He's been the man since last year. Shout out to ODU. What are your thoughts on Kyler Casper on Oregon? No thoughts? Nothing crossed my mind. Wasn't a crash out. He had some valid points. I think crash outs can have valid points, but a crash out means you lose your cool, you get emotional, and you can't come back, right? It's supposed to be an all-time crash out. You're breaking up with your girl. You say some shit you can't take back. You talk about her parents. I had a crash out once in life, bro. I'm not lying to you guys. I had a crash out. I've had a crash out many times in life. But I had one really big crash out. I'm not joking. I remember it vividly. I remember I was out jogging. I lived in El Paso, Texas, and I was jogging. I always run. I'm a fitness guy. I'm always in shape. When I was in the military, but I was out running. It was at late night. It was about 5, 6 p.m., whatever it was. And one of my girlfriends called me. I had many girlfriends. One of my girlfriends calls me, and she says, hey, I'm on my way. I'm going to tell, and I had a wife at the time. I wasn't happily married. She says, I'm going to tell your wife about us. And I said, no, you're not. No, we're not doing that. I don't know you. Like, it's not going to work out. I don't know you. She said, no, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. She needs to know because I want to be with you and all this stuff. And I was just like, I was living drama crazy, bro. And I was like, no, this ain't happening. So I remember I got home and I had to think, do I want my spouse to find out that I have this girlfriend? What am I going to do? So I did the most immature, ignorant, ridiculous thing. I crashed out. I went into the house and I walked straight up to my wife and I said, I want a divorce and I want you out. You got 1 hour. Get out. What was I talking about? Justification for this? Why did I crashed out? And then she said, no, what are you doing? She said, what are you telling me? She said, I'm not leaving in an hour. We got kids. We got all this stuff. And I just said, nah, I don't like your parents. That's why I'm crashing out. I don't like your parents. I hate your mom and your dad. And I just start going off. I can't take back any of this shit. I just keep doing it. And I just keep going further and further and further to the point where it's like I really ended my marriage on bullshit, on just being immature and scared that somebody's going to. And the girl, and here's the craziest part about it. The girl never showed up. The girl never showed up, but there was no going back. Couldn't put the rabbit back in the hat after that. It was real. I said some out of pocket shit. That's a crash out. Dabo didn't say anything that can't be repaired. Dabo didn't say anything disparaging about the school or the president or decision makers or the board region. He didn't say anything. Did he just go to the podium and say, yo, you guys can suck my... He didn't do that. No, he just talked about winning. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a crash out, bro. Y'all got to know, crash outs are irrational decision making and you regret it for the rest of your life. And I mean, there's no coming back from it. That's crashing out. Myron Kidd says, Virginia's going to be a big-time job if TE is fired, Tony Elliott. Doubt it, as the team is good this year because money is coming in big time from NAL, from donors. Yeah, I'm really impressed with Virginia. I love the way they're playing. I hope they do well. Hope they put it together. You guys know I've been talking about Virginia all offseason. I'm still going to rock with them. I like them right now. Gallo says, Rico, my PC is on a 100. Can you raise the volume on the mic? I can hardly hear you. I will not raise the volume. No, my mic is fine. Get a new computer, get speakers, get headphones. I don't care what you do. My problem is not, like, your problem is not mine. Fuck out of here. You think I'm going to change my whole show just for you, bro? I don't know you like that. Fix yourself. Summerall will be the Florida coach next year if Kiffin turns them down. War Eagle. That whole thing just confused the hell out of me. The whole thing just really confused me. That's crazy. What grade would you give Dan Mullen so far? Well, I'm not an instructor. I'm not a teacher. I don't like giving out grades. Grades is a made-up metric. It's just, you got, 5 letters? A, B, C, D, F. Yeah, 5 letters. I don't think that's how we do things around here. Dan Mullen's doing well at UNLV. He's getting the most out of his players. I still think he's a terrible coach. The fact that he was going to start Orgy over Colandrea is absurd. Like, you're watching those two players at practice, and you can't make up your mind over who's the starter. Thank goodness, unfortunately, there was an injury there, and I think that saved their season because Colandrea should have been the starter in the spring or in the fall, in the spring, everything. There's just no way you don't know who's starting at quarterback for that team. I think that they evaluate talent incorrectly. The fact that they inherited a good running back in Jet to carry them really helps. But you got to understand, like, I don't like coaches who can't identify the best talent on their team. That's number one, and that's a red flag to me. Number two, you inherited a good running back. Can you find another? And can you win with those guys? So we'll see. So far, so good. I think they're playing well. They're playing fine. Alex Whiteleather says, GT looks like a really soft schedule. Any chance they run the table until Georgia? I mean, there's a chance. I don't know. I haven't studied their schedule up to this point, but there's a chance. They look like they're going to win 10 games, 11 games, especially since they got through Clemson. It's not about having I don't understand why people say a soft schedule. I don't understand that. Do you guys, like every conference, everybody always just goes, oh, they don't play anybody. They don't play anybody. You're playing conference opponents. You can lose to conference opponents on any given Saturday. That's number one. Number two, who is somebody? Like, who's somebody? Only the playoff teams are somebody? Only the top 12 is somebody? They didn't play anyone. Only the top 12? Like Missouri, for example. Missouri just beat Kansas. And there's going to be people saying, Missouri didn't play anyone. Missouri hasn't played anyone. Why? Because they haven't played Texas, Alabama, or Georgia. That's someone. That's it. In the Big Ten, if you didn't play Ohio State, Penn State, or Oregon, you didn't play anyone. It's what you guys do. It's hyperbole. It's ridiculous. You're playing someone every Saturday. There's no soft schedule. You think Clemson is sitting there going, man, we have a soft schedule? Clemson sitting around going, yo, we got a soft schedule. All we got to do is play unranked Georgia Tech. Unranked Georgia Tech, no receivers, no defense. That's that ninth conference game. That's the one. And you lose. And now you're out of the conversation. Play 9 conference games. None of them are easy. None of them. Nah, I don't buy that shit. I don't like any of that. And now we're going to have to hear how South Carolina is a hard game. Look at that schedule. They got to play a gauntlet. South Carolina, I just watched them lose by 30 to Vanderbilt. Oh, now Vanderbilt's a contender. Yeah, and Auburn's a contender. Anyone who's winning games is a contender. Everybody else is not any good. That's the logic. But then you see Stanford beat Boston College. Cal beat Minnesota. Minnesota was on a lot of people's charts in the top 5 in the Big Ten. Senior lad in defense. Just lost to Cal. Who was picked to finish dead last? Bottom 2? You guys don't understand, man. Conference games are conference games, and none of them are easy. None of them. You might win by a lot. You might beat a team. That don't make it easy. No. I don't get down like that. Georgia Tech, they have every chance to win every game. It's not a soft schedule. Taking the Virginia Tech job, shout out to Coaches Bryant. What up, Coaches Bryant, MVP? Taking the Virginia Tech job is more about rebuilding legacy inside Lane Stadium because there certainly isn't anything to do in Blacksburg. So, rebuilding legacy, trying to find that old spark. Like, that's all cool, man. Is that what they tell the Nebraska people every time they try to hire a new coach? Or the UCLA fans? I mean, there's legacy at every university. Everybody's trying to find it. If you don't have it, they're trying to find it. If you don't have it, they're trying to find it. That's it. Taking the Virginia Tech job is about getting an opportunity that head coach would have never had in his life. And he's going to be ecstatic about that job. Now, how's he going to win there? Got to go recruit. Got to dominate Hampton Roads and Newport News, Virginia Beach area. You got to go win and go find players in the DMV. You got to do something. You can't sit there and take the cast-offs from West Virginia. Martinsburg can't be your location. JUCO guys, and then only hitting the transfer portal for guys you're looking for. Take all the Middle Tennessee State leftovers. Yeah, you want to get Conference USA transfers to Virginia Tech? That's not going to win you games. Conference USA, the worst group of 5 conference in America, not going to win you games. Nope. Do you think Wisconsin will be able to run the ball on Maryland? TDH. I think that's going to be their plan, right? So Wisconsin is struggling right now. Danny O'Neill's the quarterback. He's a backup quarterback, transferred in from San Diego State. He's not a very good quarterback. They got one receiver in Vinny Anthony that we can believe in. So the next thing you do is you try to run the rock. And if your O-line's healthy, then show up and try to move the ball on Maryland. Try to run on Maryland. Okay, cool. How mean is Maryland? Maryland's very athletic. Maryland has really good defensive backs. Shout out to my boy Husky. They can run man. They can put more in the box and be competitive. I think it's a tough game. I don't think there's any easy yards in that game. First and foremost, Wisconsin just doesn't look like the team you think they are. The teams that used to run the ball, Ron Dane and Monty Ball and all them dudes, they're not. That's not Wisconsin football anymore. I love the Wisconsin freshmen running back, or they're sophomores now. I love them both. Dillon and Dupree, I call them Double D. Man, them guys are great. The offensive line ain't getting it moved like that. It is what it is. Is USC making the college football, and how far? So, Martin, you meant to say college football playoffs. So, and then everybody goes, how far? So, I don't give a shit if you lose in the playoffs. I don't care. You had a successful season. Everybody always does this. Oh, they made it to the playoffs, but they lost in the first round. They didn't belong there. They lost in the first round. Who cares? There are teams that didn't make it to the playoffs. They didn't have a successful season by your guys' standard. I think if you make it to a bowl game, you had a successful season for a number of reasons. Number one, there's a financial incentive in there for the coaches. It gives them more money. It keeps them employed. If you made it to a bowl game, you get 19 additional practices. Now you can start developing your players, and your freshmen get to play in that bowl game. Even if they played in the 4 games, they can play in that one and still redshirt. There's so many things that are beneficial to making a bowl game of any level, of any sort. But making the playoffs, it's fucking phenomenal. It absolutely is the pinnacle of the sport. I don't care if you lose in the first round. It is amazing. Can USC make the playoffs? Yeah, they can make the playoffs. They have an exceptional offense. Currently lead the entire Big Ten in offense, and they look really good. They look really good. Their defensive line looks stout. The way they're putting their stuff together, they look really well. How far can they go? Who knows? Like, you don't even know who they're playing. You guys want me to sit here and say, well, if they go to the playoffs, they could go all the way to what? They could win 1, 2 games. If you win 3 games, you win the national title. What are you talking about? How far can they go? If they're in the playoffs, they went as far as they needed to go. And you have no clue who they're facing. We haven't seen the seeding. We don't know anybody's records. That's just silly. How far can they go? They go all the way to the title game, man. They get to the playoffs, they're going all the way to the title game. And then they get there, and the first team they play is who? Ohio State? You guys got to understand, I make predictions for a living. Not to shoot the shit and hang out. I don't make predictions just to talk. I'm not at a barbershop here. I run a multi-million-dollar platform, and people pay me for my assessments and my analysis. I can't just randomly start talking shit. Yeah, this is going to happen. Somebody's going to go bet on it. Silly. Silliest question. Jacob says, thoughts on Nebraska this year, and if they beat Michigan, are they legit? I don't think beating Michigan has anything to do with it. You can lose to Michigan and be legit. What? Think about your question. Thoughts on Nebraska. They're elite. They look really good. And if they beat Michigan, are they legit? They're already legit. What is your guys' problem? Like, in all your guys' mind, if you're not a top 10 team, you're not legit. To me, the top 40 teams are legit. The top 40 teams in America are legit. They're legitimately good and can win on a Saturday. The top 40. Who's not ranked right now? Louisville? Nebraska? They're great. Ohio's not ranked. They can win on any damn Saturday. I don't get you guys, man. All you guys live in this world where only the top 10 teams are legit. Everybody else sucks. It's dumb. Do you think Penn State chose the wrong quarterback? Bo is going off. Not at all. Not at all, Sport. Sport 101 Daily They chose their starting quarterback for the last 3 years. They have the right quarterback. Sometimes players who are on the bench can play elsewhere, and that's fine. But this wasn't a competition. It wasn't like it was a coin flip. Bo Pribula was at practice every single day for Penn State, and he was never once contemplated to be their starting quarterback. There was no competition. There's nothing to worry about there. They didn't pick the wrong guy. They know who they picked. Now, that doesn't mean that the guy that's backing up your starter can't go somewhere else and play amazing. It's not what that means. That's silly. Dude, guys are going to leave and go off. Did Coach Prime choose the wrong wide receivers when he let Jordan Tyson go? Jordan Tyson was at Colorado. He's now the number one receiver at Arizona State and probably going to be the number one receiver off the draft boards. But he had Travis Hunter and some dude named Jimmy and Lil Wester. What do you do? Some players go elsewhere and shine. That's normal. I'm telling Colorado will have a bounce back of the year. I'm telling you. BBC free. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the Rockies? The Colorado Rockies? You can't be talking about the Colorado Buffaloes, that football team. That is not a football team we're talking about. There is no conversation to be had. You might want to go to a Colorado fan page. There's a million of them on YouTube. Just a bunch of dudes just chasing engagement, clicks, engagement farming. Go follow all those pages, man. And go talk to them about Colorado. But leave me the fuck alone. There's nothing to talk about. That is a train wreck. That is a terrible team. They don't have a quarterback to save their life. They don't have receivers. They have no professional wide receivers. They have one of the worst receiver rooms in the Big 12. Yes, definitely the worst. Definitely the worst. If a guy from Campbell and from Tulsa can transfer in and become starters, you suck. You got nothing in the cupboard. Nothing. If your star player, that's your most skilled player, is a transfer from UIW, shout out to Taylor. He's got a little burst to him. You suck. There's nothing to talk about. Terrible team. Absolutely terrible. Dog shit. I'd be surprised if they win 3 games. Thoroughly surprised. Who's the best true freshman you have seen this year so far? So this year so far, the best true freshman, I'm probably going to be missing 1 or 2. I probably am. I'm sure there's somebody out there. But what's his name? Malik Washington at Maryland, starting quarterback, former high school film review alumni, right? So friend of the channel. I did a high school film review on him 2 years ago when he was a 0-star quarterback. And I told you all, this will be a 4-star player. This will be a 4-star quarterback when they figure it all out. He's 0 stars. His dad was reaching out to me. Dad's like, hey, can you do a film review on my son, man? He's got no offers right now. Or, yeah, he had no offers. He's got no stars. I'm like, okay, let me go watch the tape. I watch the tape, and I go, oh, that's a 4-star quarterback. Recruiting websites will figure it out. That's a 4-star quarterback. 2 years later, he's a starting quarterback day 1 as a true freshman at Maryland. I do this for a living. I evaluate talent for a living. I look at rosters, and I look at players all day long. And when I watch the tape, and I watch the huddle film, and I watch the highlights and everything, I can tell you right away, like, that's an FBS player. Because I know what it looks like. You guys got to remember, in the offseason, I'm watching all my NFL draft video. I'm doing analysis on the NFL draft. And when I watch all those players huddle tape and highlight tapes from college, I'm seeing the elite players that can go compete in the NFL. So then when I'm done with the NFL draft, I still have another 3 months where I go and evaluate these freshmen. And if I look at tape and I see, and you look like one of those prospects, you look like one of those NFL prospects and their huddle tape, that's how I know you can play. And that's why I stumble onto true freshmen all over the country. And I tell you guys, oh, this guy's going to be in the 2 deep. This guy's going to be somebody someday. That's how I do it. I literally sit down and watch all the huddle tape. And I can tell when one looks different from the rest. Shout out to Emmett Mosley last year. Emmett Mosley going to Stanford, he was a 3-star. And I said, no, I just watched the tape. Jacoby Williams going to Texas Tech, 3-star. I said, no, I just watched the tape. These are not 3-star players. These guys could start anywhere in America. And what do you know? Jacoby Williams became the starting running back by the end of the year. And Emmett Mosley, well, it took him a couple weeks before Stanford woke up and let him be in the starting lineup. And I even said that. I said, I don't even care if these guys are in the starting lineup or not. I think they're amazing. And Emmett Mosley goes out there and absolutely dominates Louisville and beats the number 19 team in the country, and now he plays at Texas. I can evaluate talent, and I can see when a player is too good to be on a certain team, and I can tell you when a player is going to be a star. That's what I do. I'm better at it than the coaches. I'm better at it than these college coaches because I'll watch tape, and the college coach will write me back and be like, Rico, I wasn't impressed with his tape. I'm good, man. We don't want that guy. True story. Shout out to Devin Rispers' busted ass. When I told him, hey, let's get D'Angelo Pons to Colorado. Oh, he's too small for us. We don't want him. He's an All-American. He's going to be drafted. Yeah, he's better than anybody you got. Anyways. Next question. Michael Plotkin says, does Auburn have a single chance this week? They have more than a single chance. They have multiple chances. Fuck, they're playing another team. What do you mean a single chance? Auburn's a quality football team. They got every chance in the world. That's a silly question. Bo Pribula is a top 3 quarterback. Did a bunch of other quarterbacks die? Did a bunch of other quarterbacks die? Is my question. Because if Bo Pribula is a top 3 quarterback, I can name 5 schools where he would go. He could transfer to them right now, and he would be a backup. And you wouldn't know his name. So that's just a false statement, saying he's a top 3 quarterback. He's playing well at Missouri. Do not get it twisted. That is a guy who couldn't start at Penn State. He couldn't start at Miami right now. He couldn't start at South Carolina. These teams are not going to start him over who they have. So what are you talking about? He couldn't start at Oklahoma. He couldn't start at USC. That's 5 right there. You guys are just so simple. You see a player, he plays well, and you're just simple-minded. And you're not really evaluating the talent for what it is. How many years did Harden set back Auburn? Harsin. So Harsin didn't set back Auburn. He just set himself back. Auburn's been fine ever since he left. What's setting back Auburn is the misevaluation of talent. They're signing the wrong players. They had every opportunity to go get a quarterback. Hugh Freeze could have got a quarterback 2 years ago. And instead, they got Payne, right? They got a guy from Michigan State who's not any good. Oh, by the way, they went and hired an offensive coordinator in Philip Montgomery from Tulsa. That's not what you do. And then you brought over Tulsa offensive linemen with you. That's not how you win in the SEC. So they made poor decisions in coaching after Harsin. Harsin didn't set the. They're still making bad decisions. They remember when they got Brian Battie? What did they do? They signed Brian Battie from South Florida. And a lot of you guys go, Rico, he was shot in the head. He can't play anymore. No. Before he got shot, he wasn't in the running back room. So you signed a guy that can't even contribute on the field. You're misevaluating talent. It's bad. Both Missouri running backs, top 10 in the nation, argue with the wall. We got a child. We have a child. Jamal Roberts and Ahmed Hardy. Production doesn't mean you're the top 10 quarterback, but top 10 in the nation. That's just dumb. Some of these questions, man, yeah, they drive me crazy, Nemo. Iowa is the only good team in the country, and Baylor about to whip ASU. So Iowa lost to Iowa State. Iowa has no quarterback. Iowa is not good at all. Let's make that very clear. And Baylor's about to whip ASU. They do have a chance to win that game. Colorado thought that playing Salter to be their quarterback 1 was the move. When he was at Liberty, I saw that he wasn't. Got to be able to throw the ball down the field. Yeah, so a lot of people don't watch Conference USA football, so they looked at stats. They heard that he went and won a bunch of games 2 years ago. They're all convinced Caden Salter's this guy, Caden Salter's this guy. We never forget, Caden Salters was kicked out of Tennessee due to character issues. So we don't even know how dedicated he is to being a professional or to being a leader of a team. That's number 1. Number 2, he struggled in his second year at Liberty. And why did he struggle? Because he lost C.J. Daniels. C.J. Daniels transferred to LSU, and now he didn't have a star receiver. So all that yak you got, all them yards you put up every week, they didn't exist anymore. You know how you were inaccurate as a thrower? Well, you can't do that anymore. You don't have a big wide receiver to recover from. So you started seeing just an average quarterback going out there making terrible decisions. But by that time, once again, the misevaluation of talent, Colorado signs him anyways. We all see him struggling in Conference USA, the worst defenses in America. He's not dominating anything. But everybody they read all his stats. They read all his stats, but all the stats are cumulative from the year before. And that's when he had an elite wide receiver who was better than his opposition. That doesn't make the quarterback any better. The wide receiver's good. Quarterback stats are not what you guys think they are, man. Quarterback stats, you could throw a quick slant and the guy goes for 89 yards, and now everybody says this guy can throw for 89 yards. It's not true. Dude's bad, and he's back to starting. Which film you looked at? Looked at all the film. Gallo looked at all the film. He's a terrible quarterback. Don't you ever forget that. We don't miss any games. Myron Kidd doesn't miss any games. 2023, he did it. No, he did not. 2023, you guys are just so brainwashed. I just addressed all this. I didn't even know this was in the chat. 2023, he had a great running back that kept the box heavy, and he had an elite wide receiver that beat people. That's all it was. It wasn't the quarterback. It was a wide receiver and a running back. And Jamie Chadwell was smart enough to get the ball and say, hey, yo, let's put it in the air and get it to our wide receiver. Once he lost the wide receiver, he lost his advantage. Nothing. Can't do a fucking thing. He's a terrible quarterback. And you Colorado fans are in denial because you watched numbers. You checked box scores. You didn't watch the tape. You said, what film did you watch? You didn't watch the film. First week of conference play is so exciting. Not for me. It's harder to predict the games. Do you think Missouri will make the playoffs with Colorado? All right. No more stupid questions from you. Kobe Stewart from Buffalo will be a top defensive line draft pick. So he won't be for me. He is probably one of the deep hidden gems. I think he's one of my deep hidden gem defensive ends, but it's not anything that I'm too excited about. No. You will know the name Jerry Kaminsky in 2 years. Okay. Thank you, Sports Daily. Are you concerned with LSU's offense? Not at all. I'm not concerned with LSU's offense. No. LSU's defense is elite. Their offense is going to do enough to win games and score. Were you concerned with Michigan's offense 2 years ago when they won the national title? No, because they had the most amazing defense. Right? I'm telling you, I'm not concerned with LSU's offense. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not worried about it at all. Batsy was brought strictly for kick returns to Auburn. Yep. I know. Strictly for kick returns. Imagine that. You go and get a guy strictly for kick returns. Nothing else. He's an all-conference running back, but we're not going to use him. He can't play for us. He's fourth string. So he'll just be a kick returner. How much impact did you get out of that? Get one of your receivers to do it. Thoughts on Latrell McCutcheon Sr. from Houston? He looks like a stud. He's a stud because the announcers said he's a stud. When you watch the game, he doesn't look like a stud to me. So I've watched him play. He's fine. It doesn't really move me like that. I've watched him transfer all over the place and play everywhere. Doesn't really move me like that. Played well in the game. He's playing a scrub-ass Colorado team. You're going to look like a stud against substandard wide receivers, guys who have no speed, can't get open. That's what you're going to look like. You know all their routes before they run it. Colorado doesn't have choice routes. They don't go to the line of scrimmage with two routes in mind. You know, when I'm going to tell you guys this. I used to have I was a football coach. I was a football player. And when I used to have my receivers come up, and we would have a post corner called. But it all depended on the coverage. And if the coverage was something different, he'd stay on the post. And the DB the wide receiver and the quarterback had to be on the same page. Colorado doesn't even do that. Colorado has no choice routes. They took them out of the system because Shador couldn't handle them, and they never implemented them back. That's why they fired Sean Lewis. And he's got choice routes at San Diego State right now. They don't know how to run choice routes, so they're really predictable. You can learn their route scheme and their combos just by watching the plays. You watch the formation, you know the alignment, you know the down and distance, you know what the play is. And it's really easy to cover from that point forward. What game are you most excited for? Texas Tech versus Utah or Auburn versus Oklahoma? So those two games are pretty exciting for some people. I'm not most excited about either one of those games. What game am I most excited for? I'm really excited about Tulsa at Oklahoma State. I'm really excited about SMU at TCU. I'm excited about North Texas at Army. I'm excited about Tulane at Ole Miss. I'm excited about Toledo at Western Michigan. NC State at Duke. Northern Illinois at Mississippi State. Temple at Georgia Tech. Delaware at FIU. Man, I'm excited about all these games. Marshall at MTSU. I'm sorry. I should show you guys what I'm looking at here. Nevada at Western Kentucky. UT Martin at Missouri State. I'm excited about all these. Boise State at Air Force. Keep looking. I'm excited about Illinois, Indiana. Washington State. BYU, ECU. Excited about, those are all of them. I like a different brand of football. I like something else that you guys don't like. I like to watch games that are, I don't like Tennessee, Georgia. That doesn't excite me at all. I'm not excited about those games. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, fucking boring games, man. I just don't like them at all. So, not that excited about Texas Tech and Utah. All jokes aside, do you think Missouri will make the playoffs? I can't answer that question. It's a silly fucking question. Cal's quarterback will be getting $1 million SEC offers next year. So Cal has an NIL. Cal has a budget. Cal's not going to be giving up their quarterback if they have any control over it. Unless he wants to go play in the SEC, it's not going to really matter. I don't think the SEC would be able to afford him. I really don't. I think JKS, I think he's going to stay on the West Coast. USC could buy him out, something like that. But it looks like Cal's where he's going to be. Remember, if you're at Cal, a Cal degree really matters as well. But they got money. Cal's not a punk. Cal wins in the transfer portal in the spring every year. So don't forget that, okay? It's not going to work like that. Like, you guys all envision the SEC teams are going to go get all these players and stuff. Who's the starting quarterback at Ole Miss right now? It's Trinidad Chambliss. They went and got a quarterback from Division II. Right? Think about that. Bo Pribula came from a backup spot at Penn State. And when you start thinking about the starting quarterbacks in the SEC, Diego Pavia came from New Mexico State. You guys have a really weird misconception over what SEC teams can do and sign in the transfer portal era. Like in the NIL era, it's not even comparable. Miami and Oregon will get whoever the fuck they want to get over the SEC teams when it comes to the transfer portal. You're looking at Arkansas. Who's their starting quarterback? Taylor Green. Where's he from? Boise State. They're getting group of five guys because they're all on the bargain. They're cheaper. They're not getting these guys that hit the transfer portal. These guys get the transfer portal. Who's the highest paid quarterbacks? There's one at Duke. There's one at Miami. Oregon State. These guys are going to win out and pay way more than these other dudes by a wide margin. The SEC teams ain't. You guys got to study this, bro. This is silly. They're going to pay $1 million. What millions? They're already paying the rest of their roster millions. They can't afford a free agent quarterback. It's just silly, man. So you guys say some of the dumbest shit ever. If you were Colorado head coach, how would you fix them? First thing I would do is hire a real offensive and defensive coordinator. That's number one. I would go out and get an established quarterback. I would not get a 5-star freshman. You're just renting the guy out. He's not even ready to play. I wouldn't go get a group of 5 guy. No, I would have been in the Carson Beck sweepstakes. How much did you pay for them other 2 knuckleheads? I would have been in the Carson Beck sweepstakes. You go get an established top 10 quarterback, top 5 quarterback. We can go look at stats. You guys can say whatever you want. And we go back like this. And we go complete leaders right here. Where's Carson Beck? He had a bad year last year? Carson Beck had a bad. He's right here 13th. Seth Hennigan, NFL. We know these two. We know this. NFL. We know Hoover. NFL. We know NFL. 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 There's like 5 guys ahead of Carson Beck. You're silly, bro. And if you go back to 2023, Carson Beck was number 3. And who was he behind? Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. I'm not showing you guys. Carson Beck's right here. There's a Heisman Trophy winner. There's Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. and Carson Beck. This is 2023. 2024, he's right here. Ahead of Quinn Ewers. Like, I don't understand how, if you want to be competitive in America, in college football, that guy hits the transfer portal and you're not throwing big dick money at him. Like, an insane amount of money. That's crazy. That's what you got to do. You got to go out and get a guy, because that's the guy who's going to touch the ball every single play. That's the guy that's touching the ball for your team every single play. You need the best one. It's crazy. It's great. And you need an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. Thoughts on Clemson? I mean, what do you want me to say? Underachieving. Not getting it done when it matters. They have no running back. They didn't find an answer at running back. You have a true freshman that's not healthy that I believe in. He looks good. Hadn't done anything. And then you got a wide receiver converted to running back, and he's not a real running back. So there's no excuse for this. You went into the season without a running back. You had every opportunity to use the transfer portal and find a running back. It wouldn't have been hard. It wouldn't have been impossible. They finally signed players. They didn't need to sign receivers. They need to sign a running back. Now, they haven't had their best offensive player for the last 2 weeks. Hard to win without your best player. So there's that. But, nah. Just underachieving, and it's unfortunate. Feels terrible, you know? It just feels bad. I wish there was more to say, but that's the reality of the situation. Excuse me for a second here. Whoops. I'm trying to interact with this and scroll it properly. There we go. Yeah, I was seeing that with Colorado, especially wide receivers on one play. DB 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, and the wideout doesn't go with a hitch and goes and does a route. So, yeah, routes are predetermined before the snap. They don't even know what the coverage is. They're not making adjustments due to the coverage. They took that part out of the offense. Unfortunately for them, Shedeur Sanders couldn't grasp choice routes. He talked about this in his DNVR interview, where he didn't feel comfortable with choice routes. He didn't trust the receivers were going to do the right thing. He didn't know if they were going to do the right thing, so he would just hold the ball and get sacked. So when they fired Sean Lewis, the first thing he did was get rid of choice routes. And then they would let the play call stand in the huddle and let him make his decision, which is very high school-esque. And this is why he's not NFL ready, is because you get to the NFL and you have choices. You have decisions. You have audibles. You have a lot of things changing. You can't just run up and say, oh, yeah, we're going to go slant out. Like, it doesn't work that way. But that's how that works. So, yeah, the wide receivers, you didn't have to see it in the Houston game. You have to study who the wide receivers are. And you have to look at that room and just know, like, everyone's going to tell you, Mario Miller, Dre Miller, all these guys, and you're just like, oh, no. This isn't what you want to go to war with. You got unproven dudes who never played on a Saturday. These ain't real. Oh, no, he's a dog, Rico. He's a dog. I saw him at practice on the well-off video. He's doing... No, you don't understand. I'm watching other players on other teams that did this shit on Saturdays. I'm watching other players on other teams that have NFL caliber talent and over 800 yards receiving last year. And you're talking about a guy who had 6 catches for 130 yards. Like, it's not comparable. And that's what these Colorado fans don't get, is their team sucks. The players are not comparable to the other rosters. They should not be disappointed in the losses. They don't match up. They don't have the equivalent team. They don't have the equivalent players. I'm not even shocked by it. I've predicted them. Ask the MVPs. I've predicted them. Predicted all their losses. No problem. Easiest thing I've done. And against the spread, we got it right both times. Why does everyone just like talking about Colorado? So unfortunately, Jacob, there's just a lot of losers in the comments. And they come to the page, and that's what they want to talk about. They're casual football fans. Their first exposure to a football team is Colorado, and that's all they're ever going to talk about. And it's unfortunate because they're actually talking about an insignificant team. There's nothing to really talk about. It's one of the worst teams. It's like if we sat here and talked about Northwestern for an hour. But this is what they do. They go to different web pages, they go to different podcasts, and they just strike up a conversation about this team over and over and over again. And it's why I segued away from them. I blocked them all on Twitter. I got rid of all of them. And they all thought everything I was saying and doing for Colorado was for engagement. Everything I do is for accuracy. I advise gamblers for a living. I just got to be right. I don't want to make any friends. But these guys, they'll name themselves Buff Page 301 and Buff Page Buffs this, Buffs that. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Do you understand that's an insignificant football team? It's one of the worst teams in America. It's literally. It's crazy. I study rosters for a living. And when you get there, it looks anemic as hell. Saturday is going to be a can't leave the house day. Too many fantastic games. Myron Kidd, that is a very true statement. That happens all the time. Buffs quarterback just need to support each other. Whoever is playing, then they will do better. IMO. No, I don't believe that at all, Mike. I don't understand how supporting each other is going to matter. That's not going to change the talent on the field. Support one another all you want. It's not going to change your wide receivers. It's not going to change your scheme, your offensive coordinator. You can support each other and pat each other on the back all day. That didn't make a fucking difference. Do a kumbaya before the game. Do a prayer. It's not going to matter at all. Big Ten is it now and will be till a Super League someday. Yeah, they'll have to make a Super League. They'll have to combine the two top conferences, and then everything else will go away. It's going to go the European soccer route. That's just the way it's going to be. See, you can't afford Carson. Okay, there we go. You asked me how I would fix the fucking team, and now you want to tell me I have limitations to how I fix the team. You asked me how to fix the team, and now you're telling me I can't do certain things to fix the team. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Can you give me some group of 5 coach suggestions that are good recruiters and have a complex offense or defensive scheme? I could, but I don't know what you're saying. There's countless group of 5 coaches that are good recruiters. I think the vast majority of them are good recruiters. They have to be. In order to succeed, they have to land on their 3-star players that they find. So the vast majority of them are good recruiters. Vast majority. Now, complex offense and defensive schemes, that doesn't come from a head coach. That comes from offense and defensive coordinators. It's a different position. You guys understand the head coaches are not the ones with the offense and defensive schemes. So I'll give you an example. You're going to hear Tyson Helton. Tyson Helton, although he is the king of the air raid at Western Kentucky, and he's been there for a long time, and he's been doing all that, he still has to get a new offensive coordinator every year. And they just hired one, and he just came over from Abilene Christian. I think Abilene Christian, right? Well, Maverick McIver. They just came over. That's a complex scheme. Where's Maverick McIver right here? He's 8th in the country right now passing. But it's a system thing, right? It's just, it doesn't mean you're any good. I need you guys to understand this. Steve Angeli is leading the country in passing right now. Steve Angeli, quarterback at Syracuse. Who was the leading passer last year in the country? Kyle McCord at Syracuse. So it's obvious that Syracuse offensive scheme is just to throw the ball. That's why you have the nation's leading passer back-to-back here. You don't have the best quarterback. It's not a talent thing. It's just the scheme thing. And there's coaches that do this all the time. Does that mean Fran Brown runs a complex offensive scheme? No. It has nothing to do with Fran Brown. So, no, there aren't a bunch of group of 5 coaches sitting around making the calls on offense and defense. That's not a thing. It's offense and defensive coordinators. Thoughts on Diabell? I try not to think about players that don't play football. You guys name players like that? You guys do that? Thoughts on so-and-so. Thoughts on so-and-so. And they're not even in the too deep. They don't play on Saturdays. So why do you know their names? What warrants you knowing their names? They don't play on Saturdays. Why should you know their names? This is why you guys don't know ball. This is why you spend all your time reading rumors and reading recruiting websites. I spend 0 time reading rumors. 0. I don't report on somebody's Final 5. I don't even give a shit if they verbally commit to a school. None of that matters. Hey, Rico, can you talk about the quarterback that just committed to LSU this week? His last name is so-and-so. I don't give a shit. You know why I don't care? Because Walker Howard was at LSU for 2 years and never saw the field. And now he's at Louisiana and injured. Saved myself 3 years of reading bullshit. You guys should save your time and stop reading all that nonsense and actually look at the players who play on Saturdays. It'll make you much more efficient. Much more. Colorado bum team, why are they ever getting mentioned? No idea, Jacob. When Dion hangs it up someday, Pat Shurmur will be the head coach. No. 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 Pat Shurmur is not. That's not a real thing. You think Duke can figure it out with Mensa? I think they've already figured it out with Mensa. What do you mean? Mensa's playing great. Duke's doing what they can do. They're playing the best they can. There's nothing else to figure out. It's not like they're underperforming, they're underachieving. They're playing great. They're doing what they can. They got the players they got, and they're playing the games they can. That's it, bro. I don't know what you guys do for a living, but let's say one of you guys, well, give me somebody in the chat. Let me know. Somebody write in the chat what you do for a living. I'm not trying to egg on you nothing. Just give me a blue-collar job, a regular job. Just let me know what you do for a living. Anybody. Just put it out there. It could be anything. Construction worker, electrician, Uber driver. I'm just looking at the chat right now. I want to know anybody does something for a living. Pat is terrible. Got that. Still waiting for somebody to write their job down right now. Anybody. Electrician. Shout out to Nick. You guys writing on TikTok? Move over to YouTube. I won't ever see this shit. I don't read the comments here. They go away. Put the chat over here. Put it on YouTube. I'll reply to you. So, electrician. Could you imagine you're an electrician and your neighbor comes up and goes, man, is this guy ever going to figure his life out? Is he ever going to get his finances right? You're a fucking electrician. What do you want me to do? You want me to buy a mansion? I'm a phlebotomist. I'm transporting blood everywhere. I'm drawing blood. What do you want me to do? Did he figure it out? Yeah, I figured it out to the best of my ability. You know, when I was growing up, my father was a construction worker. And Dad's goal in life, I vividly remember this. Dad's whole thing was he had to make $20 an hour. He was fighting for that $20 an hour. And if he talked to his boss, hey, yo, I need $20 an hour. And then when he was a DJ, he wanted $100 an hour. And he'd be DJing Friday and Saturday night. He's going to make $500-600 in a night. Dad is a hustler, but this is what he's going after. This is what his goal is. He owned a house. He had a truck. Mom had a truck. SUV. We weren't rich. We never went on vacation. At 6 years old, we went on vacation. We went to SeaWorld. San Diego, SeaWorld, and the zoo on the same day. Or back-to-back days. At 6 years old, we took no vacations after that. Never again. We couldn't travel anywhere. I grew up in Southern California. I didn't see the beach until I was 19 years old when one of my high school friends said, let's go to the beach. And I didn't realize it was only 2 hours away. This whole time it was 2 hours away. But we didn't have gas money to go that far. We didn't have the luxury and the freedom to just go on a weekend. We didn't live like that. We didn't leave our neighborhood. We didn't leave our block. And if we did, we were going to our grandmother's house for a party where everybody getting pisto, everybody's drinking and having a good time. So what's the purpose of me telling you this? The purpose of me telling you this is there was no getting it together. There was no, when are you going to own a mansion? When are you going to start investing? When are you going to do this and do that? Why don't you own stock? There's no such thing. Did any of us go to college? No, nobody knew to go to college. That wasn't a real thing. I got 83 first cousins, and I don't think any of them took an ACT, SAT in high school. None of us. Not an ACT, SAT. Not one. Didn't go through clearinghouse. Didn't go on visits. And we're superstar athletes. And some of us are academically on point. We didn't have the structure in place to even know how to do those things. We didn't have it. So are they going to get it together? They don't have the structure in place. They don't have the players for it. There's no such thing as, are they going to get it together? Duke just has Mensa, And he's playing as best as he can. He's playing pretty good. And their whole team's playing good. They don't turn it over in the second half. They keep that game close with Illinois. Couldn't beat Tulane. Tulane's an elite team. Got it all together. I don't know what more you want them to do. I never went to my pops and was like, man, when are you going to get this shit together, bro? That's not how it works. Now, as an adult, as a successful adult, I look back on that and I'm utterly amazed. I'm amazed that we lived in a house. I'm amazed that we had cars, that we were able to even live, that we had groceries. When I do the math on like how much money my father made or how much money my mother made, like when I start doing the math on shit, I'm like, how did we make it? I remember I had this conversation with my dad recently, and he was like, oh, you don't know? He goes, we were on a program, and I didn't even have to pay for the house for like a year. He didn't pay the mortgage for a year, and he didn't lose the house. It was some program they helped us out with. And when we went to school, we got free lunch and free breakfast. And we learned to hustle those. They'd give us these little tickets for free breakfast and lunch. We learned to hustle those for Wendy's cheeseburgers at lunch. You just get in where you fit in. Duke is getting in where they fit in, man. And they're learning to hustle with what they got. They're not rich. They don't got it. They paid a quarterback a lot of money. They built the rest of their roster. They didn't go and dominate in the transfer portal. They don't have the highest paid roster in the world. They got one quarterback, and he's good. There's not much else to do there. So I like Duke. Don't think they're going to be exceptional. Do you have a dark horse for the college football playoffs? College football playoffs. How does a dark horse get in the playoffs? What does that mean? You got to be in the top 12? Where do you guys come up with this shit, bro? Dark horse? Who's not in the top 12? Like, how do you guys see this going? Who's your dark horse? What does that mean? You want me to take a stab at somebody not in the top 12? TCU. TCU is my dark horse. There you go. TCU is my dark horse. Does that sound better? I'll just name a random ass team that's not in the top 25, that's not in the top 10 or whatever. I'll just say TCU. Maybe that'll make it better. My dark horse is USC and TCU. Doesn't mean anything. I don't think any dark horses get in. You get in if you're the best. The best teams get in. That's it. Thoughts on ODU after the big Virginia Tech win? Rewind the show. We've already talked about it, Boat Camp. You can just rewind it and figure that out. If you ever get here late, just start the show at the beginning. Watch it at 1.5 playback speed, and you'll eventually catch back up to us. That's all you have to do. Jordan Tyson said he wouldn't be as good if it weren't for Hines Ward. Yeah, coaches are really good. Position coaches matter. That's the reality of the situation. Can Arch Manning be fixed? I don't think he has a very strong arm, so I don't know if fixed is the right word. I think it's going to take time to develop him. I don't think he's an elite prospect at all. I think people got the wool pulled over their eyes. He looks very mid. Arm strength of Rex Grossman. He doesn't look good. Doesn't look like a first-round caliber player at all. Anyone talking like that is crazy. That looks like a 5th or 6th round quarterback at best, and I would make him an undrafted free agent. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Not today. Now, can you be under Sark and get good eventually? Sure, I guess. But it didn't happen for Quinn Ewers. He didn't improve at all either. So it doesn't feel like they're developing quarterbacks or making them better. That's the truth about Texas. They have elite wide receivers, and it'll give you yards. They have an elite offensive line. They have an elite cast of characters that can make you look good, but you're not good. Individually, he's not good. No. Electrician Rhodes. Architectural designer. There you go. Architectural designer. Doesn't that sound like a landscaper? I'm tripping right now. That's cool. Student entrepreneur. Student entrepreneur. 4. Student entrepreneur. Get your degree, bro. Get your degree. Stop chasing that entrepreneur shit. That's crazy. A jailer. Armis. One of my best friends growing up. He was a jailer for many, many years. What's your favorite game this weekend? Just one. I don't have just one favorite game this weekend. I don't think I can targeted down to 1. I don't get excited about individual games the way you guys do at all. I would say my favorite game this weekend is Marshall at Middle Tennessee State. That's my favorite game this weekend. Shout out to Middle Tennessee State being at home against Marshall. That one excites me. That's probably my favorite game on the entire weekend. Marshall and MTSU. And I'm not joking. Not joking at all. MVPs, no. Can JMU put up more than 24? Yeah, JMU can put up more than 24 against anybody. Like, JMU can score. It's a silly question. They got an offense. They can score. Who are they playing? Is there concern about their ability to score? Who's JMU playing? Control F. JMU. Oh, they're playing Liberty? You're talking about 24 points against Liberty? Liberty just had 4 turnovers last week against Bowling Green. Bowling Green smoked Liberty. And Liberty had Bowling Green had 100 yards and penalties in that game. Fucking, what are we talking about? That's silly. Thoughts on Jackson State this year? Jacksonville State? Very one-dimensional team. I don't like them. They're playing well. They're playing above, I guess. No, they're playing to expectation because people had them very high in their expectation list. I don't think Jacksonville State's a very good football team, though, by my assessment. Gavin Wimsatt's a terrible quarterback. Cam Cook can run the rock all day. They got a good lineman. Shout out to Bubba. Surprised he didn't transfer out. Defensively, look, I don't like Charles Kelly as a coach. So let me just put that out there right now. Charles Kelly as a head coach does less with more all the time. He is a very defensive back savvy coach. He's a good recruiter. I think he's a good car salesman, if you will. But there's nothing about him on a Saturday that I want to believe in. There's nothing. I don't want him making decisions for me at all. At all. I'm just not rocking with him like that. So got one more year, man, trying. Student entrepreneur, you got one more year? Okay. Yeah, get after it, man. Keep doing what you do. Do you think Iowa State deserves to be ranked that high? No, not at all. I talk about it every single time on the charts, on the polls. Iowa State has some problems. Iowa State has no wide receivers. Even if Xavier Townsend plays well, it's not real because I know that he can't be relied upon in big game moments. Like, that's not the guy that you want going to, and I like the kid a lot. Shout out to the UCF. But Iowa State has 2 tight ends that are the bee's knees. And if that's your offensive scheme, 2 tight ends, 2 very mid running backs, an offensive line that's okay, and then you go to the defensive side of the ball, I like their linebackers and their secondaries elite. So they have pieces to be competitive, but they don't come across as a top 15 team, not to me. No, I think they were better last year. Yeah, a lot better, actually, when I think about it. Miles Purchase was still there. 2 corners, one secondary member left early. Then you had the 6'4" corner last year. He just got drafted. Yeah, they were better last year for sure. But Jeremiah Cooper's still on the team. Anything can happen. So they look good. But I wouldn't say they're top 15 at all. Random question. But do you prefer the quarterbacks who actually yell their go signal, or do you prefer the clap? No meter green. No man should ever prefer the clap. Please try to avoid it. We also call it the drip. Chlamydia, if you didn't know. It gets spread everywhere. It's rampant in Korea. So careful with that. Don't freak out. If you get chlamydia, it's very curable. Don't freak out. I don't prefer chlamydia over anything. The go signal, none of that matters to me. I prefer quarterbacks who communicate with their team and complete passes. That's what I prefer. CEO Devo says, I don't like Charles either. I wished Rich Rod stayed. Oh, you're a Jacksonville State fan. Okay, yeah, well, Rich Rod does not wish he stayed. Rich Rod is very happy where he's at, and he's glad he left. So that's that. Why is Notre Dame still ranked? Because people are lazy. People are lazy. They don't have any other rhyme or reason to it. There's no reason for Notre Dame to be ranked. No, this is not the Notre Dame team from last year. The only reason they're ranked is because of a preseason poll. They might have played 2 teams really well, but they shouldn't be ahead of South Florida. South Florida has 1 loss, and it's to Miami. South Florida beat Florida. They beat Boise State. They should be ranked at 2-1. South Florida should be ranked ahead of them for what they've done. This is an 0-2 team, period. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's all because they started the polls in the top 10, so they haven't fallen out far enough. If they started the preseason poll at 20, they wouldn't be ranked. But they started in the top 10, so now you go. They suck, bro. They're not real. Notre Dame, and they're going to win games. They're not very good. Carson Hansen, not mid. The epitome of mid. The epitome of mid. That guy's not good. Him and Abu Sama suck as running backs. Those guys are 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Bring nothing to the table. I don't get excited about them at all. They don't do it. They can't take over a game if they needed to. Nemo says, NCAA just got rid of the spring transfer portal. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. There's one portal now. It's in the winter. I want you guys to know that sucks for the players because you're going to get cut. You're going to go to that exit spring meeting, and then you're going to find out you're not a part of the fold moving forward, and it's going to be a shame. But the coaches are going to be really happy because you can't leave, and you're stuck there. You're going to be their third string, fourth string, and you're going to see a lot of careers end in the transfer portal or end on a roster. I want you to think of Freddie Brock. Freddie Brock should have been the starting running back at Georgia State this year. Instead, he's fifth string at Oklahoma State. Career's over. It's his final year of eligibility, and they're not going to use him at all. That's happening to players in a real way starting next year. It's going to happen a lot. So it's unfortunate. Just had someone laugh at me when I said Nebraska is going to be 9-3 or 10-2, Rico. Yeah, get new friends. Get new friends. You guys need to stop hanging out with the same losers who can't evaluate talent correctly. Nebraska's going to be very good. Rico should be an AP voter. Yes, I should. I'm a part of the media. I've been a sports journalist at least I was a sports journalist 25 years ago, back in the year 2000. So, yeah, 25 years ago. Don't understand why they haven't approached me. I haven't inquired about it, but I know I'm more qualified than probably half the voters. And I'm obviously more informed. So, I wish it would happen. Thoughts on Julian Sane has looked through the first 3 games. So, Julian Sane's played well, but listen to me. I don't think he's played good. There's varying levels to this, right? It's subjective. I don't think he's played good. You have elite wide receivers that will make you look good. All you got to do is put the ball up. They're going to go get it wherever they're at. You have elite wide receivers. He's not throwing them open. He's not throwing with anticipation. He's not making reads. He's just dropping back and showing accuracy and putting the ball where they can get it. Those wide receivers will make you look good even when you're not good. I don't think he's very good. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't think he's very good. But they're winning games. He's good enough to get them the ball, and that's all they need. And that's why people don't understand the talent aspect of it. I'm going to give you guys an example. That kid, Ty Simpson, is it Ty Simpson at Alabama? That's an elite quarterback. It's an elite quarterback with elite weapons. I think it's a great combination. I think he's special. Don't you forget it. Ty Simpson is running around, making plays, extending plays, throwing with accuracy, and throwing his wide receivers open, and he's finding the right guys. Yes, he has elite wide receivers. I'm not contradicting myself. He has elite wide receivers, but it's a different way of playing. He's way better than Julian Sane. Way better. I like that kid a lot. Ty Simpson. Dude's the real deal. No, you should be in the college football playoff committee. You would be yelling at the other people in the committee. I'd be very cordial. I'd probably punch him in the mouth. You think North Texas will beat Army this week? I'm not prepared to give out predictions for free. I do that for the MVP. So if you want to know who's going to win games, go to Patreon, search RicoKnows, change your life, become an MVP. I've predicted every single game against the spread and money line. But when it comes to North Texas, I imagine North Texas to be one of the better teams in the group of 5. I think Mestermaker's a great quarterback. The wide receiver core is top notch. Like they're 5 deep in the wide receiver room. Trey Williams at tight end is great. And I'm really impressed with the defense that they've gotten. They've improved themselves. They brought over Cassidy. That's a defensive coordinator from Sam Houston. And now he's the new defense coordinator for North Texas. So I like North Texas all the way around. On the other side, I don't really like Army at all. Army has elite linebackers. They have a pretty good defensive line. Army is slow. Their quarterback is terrible. Then they brought in the white kid, the backup, right? Coleman was the starter. Dwayne Coleman, that guy, he sucks. He's gross. So we knew that going in. There was somebody we could bet against. And now that they switch quarterbacks, they kind of have a little something going, but not much. Noah Short's not a real football player. That guy runs track and nothing else. He can't make anybody miss. His only move is to slow down or speed up. He kind of does that thing where he's running fast and then he slows down. I don't like that. That's not a real football player, so I'm not with it. Yeah, I like North Texas. I think Brian Hartline will put Julian in a good spot. Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of it, right? Understanding your strengths and what you have, that's not the concern. The concern is when you're playing against elite teams and you have to make a play. You can put Julian in a good spot all you want, and you can do that all season long. It's when you play the elite teams and it's 3rd and 8, and now he needs to make a play. That's where it really matters. And I don't like that. I wouldn't bet on that. So that's where it's at. So players got to make plays. I don't look at him as a player that's going to make plays. That's not how I feel about him. Do you think the matchup of Utah's O-line and Texas Tech's D-line will be one of the best matchups in the trenches this year? No, not one of the best matchups. I mean, it's good. It's a good matchup or whatever, but it's not a big deal. It's just a game. Like, relax. We're not predicting anything here. It's just a game on week 4 of the college football season. Is that what we're in? We're in week 4 or week 3? Week 4 of the college football. That's all it is. Good matchup. Great offensive line at Utah. Studs on the defensive line at Texas Tech. I'll give you an example. I'm more interested in Texas Tech wide receivers against those Utah defensive backs. That's the matchup I want to see. I'm not worried about the trenches. The trenches, they're both good. They're good on both sides. It's going to just be a kind of a stalemate, if you will. We're looking for an advantage. What team has an advantage? And I think that the Texas Tech wide receivers are far and away better than any defensive back at Utah. Like, way better. So I think that's the bigger concern there. Yeah. And I also want to evaluate the depth. The depth of Texas Tech is real. Shout out to the transfer portal. I think they're 3 deep in every position. And Utah has babies. Utah has no depth. They lost all their depth to the transfer portal. So they just got babies. They got young prospects. I don't like their chances in that regard. So I'm curious to see how the depth works out. I want to see the 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarter, and when they start having to rotate other people in, and what's gained and lost in that regard. Where do I go to be an MVP, and how much does it cost? So you just download Patreon. It's an app. You're going to go to Patreon. Once you get there, download the app, search RicoKnows, and then you become an MVP. It's $255 a year or $25 a month, and that's what you do. Zachary Finauer says, game is about to be elite. Utah versus Texas Tech. Oh, yeah, it should be a good game. I got to check you out. Appreciate you. Yep. For full access. There you go. You guys are letting you know. Hey, I answered all the questions. I'm going to go back to the screen. We've already been going at this for 101 minutes. I don't want to drag this out too long. I did want to sit down and chop it up with you guys, but it's 7:30. I'm going to get back to work. I do enjoy interacting with you guys. I don't really like all your questions, but it is what it is. So, looking at these games, just want to remind you guys, the Rice-Charlotte game just looks like a really boring game, and I hope Charlotte figures a way to be competitive in this game and actually throw the ball a little bit because they can't run it. Look for Tulsa to move the ball against Oklahoma State. Tulsa's got great players. Look for Dominic Richardson. He'll be the best running back in this game. Former leading rusher from Oklahoma State, transferred to Baylor last year and then transferred to Tulsa this year. So Dominic Richardson is now the starting running back at Tulsa. I think he's great. Some of you guys should be looking forward to. And then in here, the one I'm interested in is Rutgers. Rutgers offensive line. It's 4 or 5 guys that are all returning seniors and starters, and they're just beasts, and they're war veterans, and I hope they're ready. Hope they're ready for Iowa in the trenches, and they can go out there and impose their will at home. Rutgers has phenomenal skill players, great wide receivers. I think Strong is injured for this game, but I don't think it's going to matter. They have other receivers that can really move the ball, and then they have good running backs. So I like Rutgers a lot, and shout out to Iowa. They've got a brand and a pedigree of football that most people believe in. Utah and Texas Tech looks like a good stalemate. Looks like a good clash of 16 and 17 ranked teams. Congratulations. Shout out to them. Arkansas, Memphis. Arkansas looks like a team that should outclass Memphis, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Memphis is never really losing games by more than a touchdown. And now that the line is -7.5, I got to imagine most people believe in Memphis as the line grows, especially on an alternate spread of like 14.5. Just something to think about. Maryland and Wisconsin, this line has grown to 10.5, which is crazy because I think it started at 5. I don't think it's a straight go. I understand what the concept here is. Maryland has a freshman quarterback, and he's going up against elite defensive backs at Wisconsin. My only question is, how is Wisconsin going to score and consistently score and keep moving the ball? I'm curious on that. Syracuse, they throw the ball a lot. They throw the ball a lot. Clemson throws a lot. I like the over in this game, which sounds crazy, but I don't think anyone's going to be stopped. I think they're going to go out there and score like crazy. So let's go figure that out. Shout out to Clemson. They're much better than Syracuse. We'll see what happens. Wofford and Virginia Tech, no line on the game. Shout out to Virginia Tech. I like TCU over SMU, especially at home. These two schools only have 30 miles between them, so it is a rivalry. You can see the 64.5 over-under. They expect a bunch of scoring in this game. TCU's going to score. TCU's got beasts, but also TCU's secondary is on point. I like their secondary a lot. Shout out to Bud Clark and everybody out there playing great. I like TCU. I like TCU. I like TCU. Bowling Green, Louisville. Louisville's really not impressed me this year to this point. Number one, Miller Moss is a backup quarterback. Miller Moss is a guy who lost his starting job at USC. Why you would sign him and make your starter, I don't know. I would never pick somebody who lost their starting job to then come be my starter. That doesn't sound like a recipe for success. I actually don't see it succeeding in many places. You see Preston Stone at Northwestern playing absolutely terrible because he lost his job at SMU. Kind of similar concept here. Miller Moss is playing really bad football. But Louisville has Isaac Brown, and Isaac Brown can go ham. On the other side, Bowling Green, star linebacker Dorian Pringle, the guy I predicted would be amazing, and he has been, just tore his ACL. He's out for the whole season. So losing a leader on their defense, losing some of their spark. When you look at Bowling Green on tape, Eddie George's team, they're not disciplined. They make a ton of mistakes. I'm talking they had over 100 yards in penalties. I don't know how you keep it clean and how you get this done. Now, they beat Liberty, but Liberty had 4 turnovers in the game, and you still barely beat them. So I don't even know how good Bowling Green is. The line looks huge. It's 25.5. I'd probably tease it and rock with Bowling Green. Miami of Ohio is bad. They're playing UNLV. That shouldn't be a competitive game. I don't care what anybody says. North Texas, I like them over Army. That's that. South Carolina State will not be competitive with South Florida. UAB, I don't know how you score on Tennessee, and I know this. UAB's defense, Swiss cheese. One of the worst defenses I've ever seen. Tennessee's going to put up points for days. Wagner, not competitive with Central Michigan. Central Michigan's actually just going to run the ball the whole game. They're not going to throw it at all. Just run. Oregon State, total blowout. Shout out to Oregon. Florida State, blowing out Kent State. Oklahoma, Auburn. I think Oklahoma's a better, talented team. Cool. Go get it done. Tulane and Ole Miss. I'm really, really believing in Tulane in this game. I think Tulane wins money line. I hate Ole Miss. Ole Miss just has a lot of poor decisions being made all over the place. Shout out to them. Ole Miss should be the class of this game. They should get it done. Michigan, Nebraska. Figure it out. Figure it out. It feels like an up year for Nebraska. They can actually throw the ball. Michigan can't. I'm going to rock with a team that can do everything. So I like Nebraska. Speaking of do everything, Notre Dame is about to do everything and win a game. They will be Purdue, and it'll be bad, but it won't be as bad as people think. UCF and North Carolina, good luck. Good luck figuring that outcome out. I'm going to rock with UNC. UConn and Ball State. Ball State sucks. UConn had a very disappointing game against Delaware last week, but UConn's a good team, especially at home. JMU should smash Liberty. I don't want to hear about anything. The biggest, craziest call right now is EMU over Louisiana. I sound crazy. I'm rocking with EMU. Troy's going to beat Buffalo. It's a tough one. Coin flip, you have no business trying to figure out what's going to happen there. Toledo's blowing out Western Michigan. Ohio will beat Gardner-Webb. NC State and Duke, it's a mirror match. It's pretty close, man. It's pretty close. I like NC State. Mississippi State should find a way to keep scoring against Northern Illinois. They can't. Northern Illinois can't score at all. I hope Mississippi State eventually scores too much and gets away from them. Georgia Tech should do the same. San Jose State and Idaho. This should not be a competitive game. Shout out to San Jose State. West Virginia could shock the world. They could shock the world and beat Kansas. They could. Kansas wide receivers aren't very good. West Virginia DBs are great. Rich Rod doing something over there. I don't know, but oh well. Delaware and FIU. I understand they're on FIU because of the continuity, returning starters and all that, and being one of the better teams in Conference USA, but shout out to Delaware. They put up a fight, man. I just watched Delaware beat UConn. Come on now. Arkansas State should beat Kennesaw. Akron should beat Duquesne. South Carolina should not be competitive with Missouri, and I know no one agrees with this. No one sees it coming, but I just don't like South Carolina this year. I don't think they're very good. Jacksonville State beating the Racers. Give me MTSU figuring it out. UT Martin's beating Missouri State. What? I said I'm crazy. Western Kentucky Shouldn't be a problem with Nevada. Same with Boise State. Georgia Southern's going to get it done against Maine. South Alabama will send Coastal Carolina packing. Miami's beating Florida. I'm with Indiana over Illinois. It is a coin flip game. Shout out to Vandy. Vandy's blowing out Georgia State. Georgia State beat them last year. That's not happening again. Washington's blowing out Washington State. Virginia's winning in a blowout. You got Baylor and Arizona State. Go flip a coin. Figure that one out. BYU, I don't understand why they're not just going to go out there and throttle these dudes. BYU should just smash them. La Tech looks like the better team over Southern Miss. They look like the better team. We'll figure that out together. It's a coin flip game. Good luck. LSU wins. Texas wins. Utah State wins. Texas State wins. UTEP beats ULM. That's crazy. That's a crazy call. It's a crazy call. I hope it happens. UTSA gets it done. I think Colorado can win this game against Wyoming just because Wyoming can't score at all. But this should be a low-scoring game. Wyoming's pretty solid. Then you've got San Diego State not being competitive with Cal. USC should outclass Michigan State. And then Fresno State should get it done against Ohio or against Hawaii. Good luck with that. All right, went through the whole list. Going to go back to the questions one last time, and then we'll call it a night. There isn't anything in here except for Patreon or Discord. There is no cost for Discord. You guys sound like idiots, man. You pay for Patreon. You can become an MVP on Patreon or YouTube. Do it on Patreon. And once you become an MVP on Patreon, you can go to the Discord server. Do not show up unless you're an MVP because you will not have access to anything. When you become an MVP, the first thing you do is watch a video on Patreon. The video will explain to you how to connect your Patreon account to Discord. Once you're connected, you can see all the MVP channels. If you're not connected, there's no point in showing up. And I can show you what it looks like when you guys show up without being connected. So when you come over here like this, you come to the Discord, somebody will follow the link and be like, I know how to get to Discord. I know how to get to Discord. I've done this. I got a Discord account. No, you're an idiot. You can't show up. You can't pay me for this. You don't pay for this. You come over here and you have to connect on Patreon. There's a whole video showing you how to do that. It's called Connected Apps. Once you connect, when you come in here, it'll say welcome. If your name isn't green, you aren't connected. You see all these people who show up without being green? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They literally don't know what they're doing. There's green people here who figure it out. Then it's how to connect. We have a step-by-step telling you how to connect, and you'll see people write tests. You see this guy Tony here? Doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's why he's never connected. He's never green. If you're green, you're connected. These people don't know what they're doing. These people do. These people do. Then, if you show up without being connected, you will only see these 5 channels. It does nothing for you. You have to see all these other channels. They're all locked. You can't see them unless you connect your Patreon to Discord. We have this explained in a video. It's pinned on Patreon. Become an MVP. Change your life. Join the thousands of members on the server. Come talk to all of them. They're talking in the chat. They're giving out injury updates, letting you know what's happening, who's injured, who's what. They're asking each other questions. They're working on parlays together. They're coming up. They do NFL stuff. They do all kinds of stuff. MVPs are doing everything to make their money. They do what they do. And if you're ever curious, like, are we really winning? There's a whole wins channel here of everybody winning their money. Go watch it. Go just read it and just go slow. And you'll just see a bunch of people winning their money and just say, keep cashing, Rico. Keep printing. Keep printing. Everybody's winning. It's what we do, guys. Been doing this for 3 years. It's what I do for a living. It's not a game. We're not guessing. Very good at it. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a blessed night.
Yeah, I'm at RicoKnows. That's my big bro. All he knows is making money in sports, betting on the low. But if you really know him, then you know he loves college football and that transfer portal. I had to show him my film from high school. He said, kid, you got talent. You could get a division I offer if you don't get it. The process is backwards. Yeah, I just wanna put on for the home team. We just lost to the rival, and I can't let it go. I can tell that you don't know what I mean. I can tell that you don't know. That's cause you don't know Rico knows. Rico, that's my big bro. All he knows is making money in sports, betting on the low. But if you really know him, then you know he loves college football and that transfer portal. Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete. Rico smart He told me to take the process seriously, so I went back to the film and found something they don't see. Yeah, yeah. We get better every day. I'm gonna make my brother proud. And if you ask me how, Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete. Rico smarter than you think. Yeah, Rico got a mind of his own. You don't know, Rico knows. That's my big bro. Rico told me about UFC. Rico told me about CFB. Rico said I'm better than my film. I'm a D1 athlete. Rico smarter than you think. Yeah, Rico got a mind of his own. You don't know, Rico knows. That's my big bro.